Let's go watch it in 2D. No, let's go watch it in 3D. But if we watch it in 3D, then is it worth the cost?
Blue had a baby. That's impossible.
I promise you, I am gonna get her back. Genetic power has now been unleashed. We made a terrible mistake.
If our world's gonna survive, what matters is what we do now.
I could use your expertise.
You coming or what?
A baby raptor? I made a promise we would bring her home.
You made a promise to a dinosaur.
Yeah. Why?
Hello, hello, hello. This is Adolf. I have with me Classic Jake.
Howdy, folks.
And today we're reviewing Jurassic World Dominion. As always, we'll talk about the 3D aspect first. Now, I wrote the review, so I'll go first, and you could either say I was right, or we'll talk about it. So,
Okay.
I guess for me, for my experience, your mileage will vary. But I have to say, the two words that best describe the 3D aspect of Jurassic World Dominion are disappointing and inconsistent. It's probably the weakest 3D of all of the Jurassic 3D releases, for me. There's a huge amount of the movie's runtime. I even forgot this movie was a 3D movie at all. It's really flat. Sometimes there's some cool, basic layering, like, one character talk to another character, and it's just two layers, which is like, so what? One foreground, one background. Now, it does definitely have moments of awesome 3D. They're kind of few and far between the first half. The second half has a lot stronger 3D than the first half, and you definitely get some pop out and some depth. You get the occasional hand with Owen, putting his hand out for the Raptors, whatever, and then guns popping out here and there. But you do occasionally get some dinosaurs popping out of the screen when in the various action scenes. There is a couple times where there's the long hallways, the depth is there, that really helps. And a big compliment I'll give is that there's many darkly lit scenes, and they all looked really nice in 3D. It's not something that all movies could do. There is some standout scenes. There's a scene with the women and the locusts in the powered down lab that's very strong in 3D. And the motorcycle chase scene is very nice in 3D as well. I did get more interested in the movie because the various action scenes in 3D, but maybe it was just my local theater, but I felt like it should have been better. It's not horrible. It's passable, but just barely. So for me, for my score, I give it a good 3D. Classic Jake, what do you give it?
I give it a weak 3D. I wouldn't even waste my time seeing this in 3D. I haven't seen a movie presented this poorly on a screen since the remake of Clash of the Titans.
I'm glad that I wasn't alone because my wife was like, I don't know about this. It's like, yeah, there's barely enough. Like, it is just like a 5.1 out of 10. Just enough that I could barely recommend it. But yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't. I would say, if you got to see dinosaurs in 3D, there's tons of documentaries. The conversion of Jurassic Park looks better than this.
So you agree this is the weakest of all the Jurassic 3D movies?
Oh, this is the weakest of the year. At first I thought, I'm just spoiled because I've seen one of the greatest conversions of all time so far, recently.
Okay.
And, but this was awful. This was just awful. Don't waste your time seeing this in 3D. It's a heartbreaker.
So I was just barely enough there. Maybe I'm being too kind, but I definitely...
Yeah, I think you are. I mean, there were a moment here and there, but I really do not think it justifies the extra expense. There's probably less than 5 minutes of actually good 3D in this movie.
Oh, you agree with me at the beginning? It's totally flat?
It's completely flat. And dark shadows, and half the time you can't see the actors' faces or the dinosaurs. You can't tell what's going on. And then you have the motorcycle kind of roundup thing, and then there's some decent 3D. But it does look a little cardboardy in places.
Yeah. Now, I feel like the trailers before this movie look better in 3D than this movie.
Yes! Yes, I got 2 3D trailers for this movie.
Avatar and Thor, which is kind of surprising.
I got Minions.
Oh, Minions as well. I got Minions, Thor, and Avatar. Lucky us.
Oh, lucky. We didn't get Thor.
Thor looked kind of meh in 3D, but it's fine. It's,
Yeah, we got a 2D Black Adam trailer.
Yeah, which is sad, but yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I guess that's going to be our verdicts. You give it weak 3D. I just barely give it good 3D. Barely.
Mm-hmm.
Just for reference sake, I watched it at AMC. Classic Jake, what theater chain did you watch it in?
Regal.
Okay. I'll let you guys decide on that. Your mileage may vary. Maybe you get the IMAX and it's perfect, but I definitely think it's barely there. But I understand why you would not think it's great either. Good. So. Now on to the movie itself. So this is the third Jurassic World movie and the quote-unquote final Jurassic movie in the saga. Does this movie roar like a T-Rex, or to quote Dr. Ian Malcolm, one big pile of shit? Okay, the story of Jurassic World Dominion is simply okay. The story starts off with a news report that spoon feeds you exposition. It's like, come on now, really? That's the way you're going to start this movie, with that? Okay, sure. This introductory info dump explains some aspects of the last movie, Fallen Kingdom, and then gives you what's going on now to set up this movie. And this movie is basically an excuse to bring back the stars of all of the other Jurassic movies to one crossover spectacle.
Yep.
Many aspects of the movie are very stupid. Very stupid. I'm not going to spoil all the idiocy and asinine moments that are in this movie.
Oh, it sounds like we're on the same wavelength.
Be prepared to take some massive dinosaur-sized leaps in logic as you watch this film.
Mm-hmm. If you've got to see dinosaurs on the big screen and you haven't seen everything else and you got to see this, just turn your brain off. Trust me, it'll be a much better experience.
This movie essentially has two plots that weave together to make an entire narrative. One is with the evil corporation, which seems a lot like Monsanto to me, but maybe not. I'll let you decide, the viewer. And there's another plot with the kidnapped dinosaur. Both plots will combine, they're basic, they're entertaining and simple enough to understand and follow. Sadly, though, both plots are derivative and convoluted. So many things in this movie are too convenient to be fully believable. The humor, though, works well. They have some various nods to the other movies, which are nice, and they're well integrated in the movie, too. Mm-hmm. Now, despite the flaws, I still had some enjoyment with this movie, and the plot was fine enough. Now, the cast here, I really like the cast. It's a huge group of people here, and they have great chemistry with one another.
Mm-hmm. Just wish they weren't a good movie.
Many of the actors are from the original Jurassic Park movies and Jurassic World, and they're all here, but it's not all dependent on legacy characters. You do get some new ones. DeWanda Wise plays Kayla Watts in this movie. She's a pilot and a mercenary, and for me, she's drop dead gorgeous and has a wonderful personality. And I loved her in this.
She was a great addition to this.
She was the breakout surprise character in the movie, and I would definitely want to see more piloting adventures with her being the main star.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I also really, really liked Campbell Scott as Lewis Dodgson. Lewis Dodgson is the villain of this movie, per se.
Yeah.
Dodson is the perfect parody of Apple CEO Tim Cook.
Yeah, I just wish they didn't give him a name like close to Dyson.
It's a little bit sad did not get William H. Macy to return to play Paul Kirby in this movie. I'm a big fan of Jurassic Park 3, and William Macy is a fantastic actor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That all being said, many of the new characters introduced in the movie are essentially just here to move the plot forward. You have to have a pilot to get people out. You have to have this person do this. And it's just, it is what it is. But for having such a huge cast of characters, I was surprised how well they work together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this movie's like 3 hours long, and it feels even longer than the Batman.
Now, I adored the various action scenes in Dominion. The action scenes are well choreographed, and they're fun to watch. Special effects look fantastic. I never once doubted the CGI and the various dinos. I was really happy to see the feather dinosaurs. They're scary, they look cool, and they're menacing. Finally, they look badass. I was happy to see that in this movie. And I was on the edge of my seat for many of the action scenes. It's fun action. Look, the reason why you're going to see a Jurassic movie is for action, and this movie delivers on that regard.
Yeah, it pretty much does. Except a lot of it's really, really dark, and you can't tell what's going on. But the moments you can tell, there'd be some suspense in it if you knew damn well they're not going to kill off these characters.
Now, overall, I can recommend going to theaters to watch this movie. I neither loved it, nor did I hate it. It's a very good, entertaining movie, but this is not great filmmaking. There was many times I rolled my eyes at various contrived plot points. At closing, Jurassic World Dominion is a stupid, fun summer movie. Nothing more, nothing less. So for me, my score is a 7 out of 10. Maybe I'm too generous, but I had fun even though this is a really stupid movie. Jake?
I'm giving it a 6, and the only reason it's getting that high is because Jeff Goldblum was awesome in this movie, and Sam Neill and they just elevated it a point up for me.
So, yeah, we're basically the same spot. You know, I like it a little bit more than you. I like the 3D a little bit more than you, but it's not really that far off. I think we're both, it's a stupid movie, isn't it, Jake?
Yes. It's basically just another Jurassic movie.
Is this a good, satisfying conclusion to the Jurassic series? No.
I'm happy that it's over. I hope it's over.
Oh, we got so much to talk about in spoilers, but spoiler-free podcast. We're gonna be very nice and kind to y'all. So I guess we'll wrap it up here. It's dumb. It's fun. It's what you expect from a Jurassic movie. If you like the other ones, you're gonna like this.
You'll like this one, and if you don't, you're gonna like this one even less.
I like them all about the same, except for the first one, which I adore. And I give, the rest of them are just dumb, fun movies. But none of them are great, unlike the first one. So, it is what it is. And if you want to see this, and you saw the trailer and like, oh, I want to see it, then you're going to be pretty decently happy with it. But it's the same old with everything going on. All right, that's going to be it for us. Bye.
Bye, folks.
Okay, as this podcast wraps up, I want to thank my patrons. Thank you, Mr. Bengal 5, Kevin Winter, and Alex Folk, for your financial support on Patreon.com. You can find 3D or 2D on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Pinterest, Instagram, and more. Just look for 3D or 2D. Thank you for either listening or watching this podcast. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.